Hello and welcome to anyone who's watching this video. This is just a quick look at the toolkit I had in 1977 when I started off as an apprentice joiner. I just thought it might be of interest to someone. It might bring back memories for somebody who used to be a joiner years ago, or it might be of interest to younger people, just how things have changed. There was very few power tools then. Available on site. There was really only occasionally an electric Kango hammer that was just used for removing stubborn brickwork or masonry. Occasionally a hammer drill, but not very often, and sometimes a big old skill saw for ripping up sheets of ply, but again it was rare, so nearly everything was done by hand. So I'll just run through this toolkit. It might just be of interest, and I'll have a look at it. So I've got roughly probably about 80% of this toolkit's original. This nail bag isn't, but I always had a nail bag with a hammer holster. The hammer holster is original, but the nail bag's been replaced. The other one has long since worn out. A stabilo level. All these tools would zip into this bag, and the level would sit on the top, and I'd put that on the back of my motorbike and go from job to job with it. So a stabilo level, and with that would be a boat level. I've only just recently stopped using these because the colour's gone out of the bubbles and I can't see them anymore. And then a couple of hand saws. I used Sandvik personally. You can see this has had a lot of wear. We'd spend 2 or 3 days cutting roofs out by hand and cutting joists to length and cutting them into steel and things like that. So it's had a lot of use, that has. I like Sandvik. A lot of the old boys use Diston. I like Sandvik. It's a bit more rigid. I like the rigidness of them. This one would be for anything from cutting up a roof, cutting out joist, cutting up sheets of plywood, or even Asbestolux, which is like an asbestos substitute for fireproofing, would all be cut out by hand. And then a panel saw for finer stuff, maybe cutting the bottom off a door, cutting architraves, skirting miters, things like that. A coping saw for cutting scribes on miters for skirting boards and things. A wheel brace, a bit brace for auger bits. This isn't the original one that I had. I gave that to my dad, but and with that a set of bits, a set of auger bits, because all the drilling would be done by hand, knocking out for locks and things. An 1 1/4 inch one for putting cylinder night latches in. And then a wheel brace for drilling smaller stuff, piloting and things like that. With that I would have a tin of bits, just a random set of drill bits of different sizes, just in a tin like that, nail punch, a couple of screwdriver bits, and that's my original tin. There's a few new bits in there. So then a wrecking bar, useful for stripping out, and we did quite a lot of stripping out demolition and then restoring old buildings, and wrecking bar's invaluable. And also you can put it under a door and lift the door. If you were in a confined space, you couldn't tip the door at an angle to get the top screw in the hinge. You could put that under the door and stand on it and just jack it up. So a claw hammer. This is the original claw hammer. You can see it's well rounded and beaten up because this was used for knocking out bricks, or it was used for everything from driving nails in to demolition to knocking brickwork out. With a bolt, I'd have a bolster nails there. That's had a bit of hammer for knocking out, like for joisting, maybe putting a joist in for a staircase and things like that. An axe, a Stanley Steel Master axe. This isn't my original one, I gave the original one to my dad, but an axe was really useful. Sometimes you'd find a door frame or a window frame was a bit tight, maybe in the middle. You can take a bit out the middle of the frame with that. I come to use that an axe again, and I realised how rusty and out of practice I am, but you could actually get quite good with an axe. The fixings we used to plug, which was you'd have a board like this, and you'd cut it alternate sides, so you'd strike this side off and that side off to make it like a propeller. Then you'd plug out the brickwork with a plug-in chisel. So for skirting board, you'd knock the perpendicular out where the brick is with a plug-in chisel. This is my original one actually, and it's been reground quite a bit. The originally looked like that, a bit more square and a bit more hefty, but he's had a bit of wear, he has. Then you'd knock those in. So you might put a line through down the wall, saw them off. The plaster would use them as a guide for plastering the wall, and then your skirting board would be nailed into that. So you've got a pump screwdriver. A lot of guys had a bigger one, but I found this more versatile. You could use it in a more of a confined space. And just trying to remember what they were called, a pad saw. So these used to take a blade. I've no longer got a blade, but they take like a small wooden blade. So if you're cutting letterboxes out of a door, you'd drill four corners out with the auger bits, and then you'd start with a pad saw till you could get enough to get your handsaw in, and then you'd cut the letterbox out with that. A pin hammer, useful for small lighter weight work. A ratchet screwdriver, and an oil stone. This is the original box, but it's not the original stone that had. For some reason I can't find the original stone. I must have it somewhere, but it's still in good condition, but I'm not too sure where it is. For sharpening up and stuff, but I always used an India, a fine and a coarse, and with that a can for oil. I used to mix engine oil and paraffin together and use that for a lubrication. Combination square, for marking mitres and square stuff. This isn't the one I actually used. That one's at work at the moment, but they're all much the same. And then I used a 5.5 jack for fitting doors and doing all that sort of thing. A lot of the guys used 4 because it was lighter to carry. This old toolkit weighs 50 pounds in weight. I weighed it just out of curiosity, but I liked a 5.5, so I used to carry that extra bit of weight. Sliding bevel for doing odd angles and things. That's the original. A marking gauge. This one obviously isn't original. I think I gave my other one away. An adjustable spanner, because sometimes when scaffolding was up, they'd put the put locks through the window openings and put a T-bar across to stop the scaffolding from tipping over. So sometimes if you're putting the window in, you'd have to take one put lock out and put the window in, put the put lock back in. But in the process get told off by the site foreman for taking them out, but there wasn't much of an option really. A pair of pliers, a chalk line and plumb bob, which is quite, the chalk line in particular is useful, and just a lining generally was very useful. A longer tape measure, if you're doing, as well as having your normal sort of tape measure, having a longer one like that. This is 66 foot. but if you're doing roofs and things, it would come in, or a big flat of concrete, it would come in handy. A number 4 smoother. This is my original one. I had this, the number 5.5 and the 4.5 I had brand new, and that did everything. You'd sometimes almost be using it as a block plane, but you carried as least as you could because it was saving weight. A Stanley knife and a saw set, because you'd sharpen all your tools on site by hand. There'd always be a set of saw chocks to hold the saw in on site when you went on, and before you started a big job you'd give your saws a quick reset and a quick sharpen. And then just a random set of chisels. These are my original chisels that have survived from that date. I don't use them anymore, but a bradawl and a glass cutter, and a couple of saw files, the bigger one for the hand saw and the smaller one for the panel saw. And that's basically your whole toolkit. You'd carry it from job to job. I'd put it on the back of my motorbike and move it from one place to another. And you carried as least as you could, but everything you needed. So that may be of interest to someone, how things have changed, how everything was done by hand. And it's not that many years ago really, from, I don't know, what, 77, so you're looking, what, 47 years ago. Going from virtually no power tools to how it is today. But I thought I thought I'd do this video because I realised I'd still got my original toolkit. I was quite surprised. I even got the original bag. It doesn't zip up anymore. It's had a few repairs, but that was the bag that travelled around with me. So I hope this was of interest to somebody, and I suppose it's a bit of history really, and might bring back some memories to maybe a tradesman that used to work like this. And thanks for watching, and take care, and it's Christmas time, so I hope you all have a good Christmas. Thank you and take care.